Hi, everybody. Just wanted to start a live feed for group discussion, talking about whatever issues you've seen in the week this week. Definitely wanted to touch on the heat pump emergency heat or electric strip heat sizing issue, and whatever other subjects come up this evening. I figured I'd start by myself and discuss the orifice drilling situation or video that I did today. When I had first got out there to check the systems out, the customer had said that they simply wanted a second opinion on a recommended or repair that another company had said was absolutely necessary. And so they wanted a second opinion on that because of the cost of the repair that the other company was claiming was going to be necessary. So I went out to check and see if whatever repairs they were recommending were actually going to be needed. And they said that the inducer motor for this system, which is actually a variable speed inducer motor, was going to be necessary to replace due to excessive vibration on high stage. So they had quoted a repair cost for that and said that that was going to be necessary. They also said that the gas valve was chattering, and that was going to be another expensive repair. So I simply started by running the system to see if I could notice the same issues that they were saying were going to be necessary to repair. And when I ran the system, I got no vibration in the inducer motor. I ran the system, in the end, I ran the system for a good hour, trying to give it time to malfunction so that I could know for sure whether or not the system was going to need repair. But the inducer motor never caused or had any excessive vibration issues. The gas valve never chattered. So, I don't know what was going on at the times that they were checking the system, but the things that they were claiming were going to be a problem, and they weren't. Typically, if something is going to be a problem, it is going to be a problem now and down the road. So you don't get it to sit there and do nothing. The other item was that they had condemned the igniter and said that that was going to fail. Though it wasn't failed yet, it was in very bad shape and was going to break down and cause a problem. So they had a collective repair of all of these items to the tune of $2,000 and change. which made the customer question, if it was a variable speed blower, a variable speed inducer assembly. It was the XV train system that in 2003, when the system was purchased, it was very high end for residential systems. Two-stage gas valve, variable speed components for the blowers and the motors. So the customer did not feel that a system that was only 10 years old and was the top of the line at that time should have that level of repair necessary in only 10 years. And that was why he was questioning the necessity of the repairs. When I got over the system checkup, as part of the process, I did a combustion analysis, and I did a I-manifold report to get the readings that I-manifold helps you see when you are checking a gas furnace. And the combustion analysis did not come up with anything terrible. My oxygen was a little bit high. My CO was a little bit on the lower end, but overall the numbers were fine. There was no major issue with the combustion of the system. And the biggest problem was the fact that they had pushed the gas pressure almost a full inch over the rated performance to get the combustion to where it was and to get the BTU input to where it was. And as you learn more and more about proper operation of a system, you become less and less able to ignore things. You can't simply look at a system that is not cooling properly or not heating properly and ignore it. At least I can't. I can't see a system that's not running properly, ignore it, and then sleep well. So if if I run across a system like that, then I need to do what I can to fix it, provided that the customer is willing or able to pay for the processes. And when I came away from that job, I knew that it was over pressure, but at the time it had appeared to be under fired. I believe my BTU input from the meter clock on the original visit showed 107,000 BTUs. The fact that when I went back and checked it again, and the BTU's input was close to 120,000, I don't really have an answer for, but maybe as we discuss the situations this evening, we can come up with an answer as to why I may have had a fluctuation in there beyond the potential for user error. Stopping and starting a stopwatch at a specific moment can be very, you're going to have a tenth of a second or tenths of seconds in reaction time delay or whatever the case may be. But when I came away from the job, I wanted to order factory fittings so that if the drilling attempt was going to go haywire, that I would be able to fall back on factory fittings that were sized in the place that I expected them to be needed. And so I made contact with the train distributor that we deal with in North Carolina here, and gave them the model number of the system, because they ask for that all the time, which I'll just continue. Gave them the model number of the system and told them that I needed or wanted a number 43 orifice fitting for that model number. And when I spoke to them, I told them what I wanted, and the representative said, no problem, we'll have them here tomorrow. So I told them I wanted a number 43 orifice, and I gave them the information for the system so that they could get me a 43 orifice that would fit this system. The next day, the representative told me that the orifices had come in and they were ready for pickup. So when I was headed over there, I called to confirm that they were going to be able to serve me quickly so that I could get in and out. And he said, yeah, let me just check the box. And he pulled out the shipping package and discovered that even though I had ordered very specifically 6 orifices, that there was one single orifice in that box. And it was actually the exact same number drill as what was already in the system, the number 45. So that was frustrating because I just wasted a day. Now, I have been doing this system check for this individual on the weekends, so it really didn't matter if I didn't get my parts, day after day, as long as I had them by the weekend. So I dug deeper into the situation, trying to help the representative know where to look to find this orifice. And I've covered some of this on my orifice rant vlog, but I spoke with Larry Cole regarding the need for the proper 43 orifice, and he said that he had a representative in Arizona that or wherever in proximity to him that could get me the number 43 orifice. And so he confirmed that and sent me a part number for the orifice. I called my distributor. Larry was only able to get a hold of 5 orifices, and I needed 6. So I called the distributor, gave them the part number, and ordered the orifice. It's probably going to be hard to display, but when the orifice came into the supply house, I went in to pick it up, and it was a 43 orifice, but it was half of the size of the orifice that I needed. That orifice is very, very, very small. And the orifice that I needed would probably be compared to my finger. So they screwed the pooch. And, well, I hate to say it that way because Larry was trying to be very helpful. Just apparently the information doesn't exist to be able to cross-reference an orifice to another number than what is designed into the system. So I realized that if I was not going to be able to get a factory drilled number 43 orifice, that I needed to drill it myself. Luckily, when the customer had agreed to do the orifice adjustment, I had immediately ordered the numbered drill bits, a Dremel. I'd never bought a Dremel before. Bought a Dremel and a Dremel drill press. And that item, that package of items came in only a few days later. So I had the drill readily available before I ever came to the conclusion that I did not have access to the orifices that I would need. I actually didn't know that I was not going to have access to the orifices I wanted until Friday. And as soon as I found out that I would not have that information, those pieces, I went ahead and scheduled with the customer to go ahead and come out this morning, which is Saturday, the 31st of January, 2015. And inform them that I would not have the factory orifices because they were not attainable, and just made sure that they were aware that I would be drilling and doing the repair that way. And as the video that I just posted earlier today shows, the drill went very well. I would not have expected, and I did not expect, that the number 43 would not be sufficient. You could argue that the 43 was sufficient, but I still had an excess air measurement upwards of 70%, which isn't terrible. But one of the performance numbers that you want to try to get to where it can be for optimum performance is excess air. And the closer to 50% that you get, the better you perform. So I opted to drill from 43 to 42 to just get that excess air a little bit lower. So I'm encouraged by the simplicity of it. I now have the tools necessary, the drill bits, the drill, a controllable system to repeat the same process over and over if I need to. I actually look forward to making other systems run better. Now there is an interesting point. In the residence, there was a second system that had been put in 2013, about a year ago. So it would have been late 2013, mid to late 2013. And after I had found so many things, not necessarily so many things wrong, but after I had found that the system was not performing properly, shut up, Billy. After I had found that the system had supposedly been maintained for the past 10 years, but not performing like it was supposed to be, especially when it had been maintained, he wanted me to definitely check out the newer system that was on the second floor. So I went to adjust or diagnose or check that system, and surprisingly found it very good, within reason. slightly high on the oxygen, slightly low on the CO. Or is it CO2? I'm losing brain capacity as we speak, but it was just a little high in oxygen and a little low in CO. CO2. But the telling point was actually the BTU input. The BTU input was 55,000 rated, and when I first checked the system before I made any adjustments, it was running at, I think it was somewhere around 42 or 43. I'd have to double check my numbers, which I don't have immediately available. But rather than making any significant adjustments, as in drilling, I opted to simply just adjust the gas pressure within the allowable range to get the BTUs to be within the number that they would be proper. Got my BTUs right at 50,000 out of 55,000. It was an 80% system, so the output was a little lower than that. The temperature split was good. It was a little on the higher end, and based on BTU input and airflow, I manifold calculated airflow on a 2-ton system at about 700 CFM. A little bit of temperature split tweaking, maybe just an adjustment of 10 or 15% higher would have, got it to fall closer to 800 CFM, but at the same time, 700 on an 800 CFM system is potentially better for all performance. A little bit more dehumidification, a little bit more temperature rise, and a little bit softer air distribution. Potentially quieter is what I'm getting at. So I checked that system out, made some minor adjustments to it to get the BTU input to fall into factory spec, and the customer requested that I put them on the schedule to do a summer check on the 2 air conditioners, and to contact them sometime in April. So we will be returning to that job come summer or spring to get those systems checked out. Now, there was another item that I discovered on the first floor system that was that I had done the drilling on. When I looked at the low voltage wiring, I found the yellow or Y1 and Y2 terminals were, the Y terminal was connected to the yellow wire. The Y low on that particular system, it's not Y1 and Y2, it's Y low and Y. Simply meaning that if you're doing a single stage system, you connect to Y, which is full airflow capacity, and Y low is the first stage lower capacity airflow terminal. And they had not adjusted the wiring from what the furnace had originally. They had simply added the brown wire to Y low, but at the condensers, Y2 At the condenser, it was a two-stage air conditioner. At the condenser, the yellow wire was connected to Y1, and the brown wire was connected to Y2. So if you get a signal on Y, on this particular system, if you get a signal on the Y terminal, which is second stage or Y2, and then you get a signal on the Y low, it's not going to do anything. It will run second stage cooling or second stage cooling airflow regardless of the signal coming in on Y low later on. So they had everything switched so that I saw the wiring coloring had been crisscrossed, but I didn't pay such close attention that I actually am 100% positive that it was either that the system never ran low stage or the system never ran second stage, both being detrimental. If you've got a two-stage system that's never running low stage, you're spending more money than you have to heat or to cool your home. If you've got a system that never runs second stage, you're actually probably saving money, but you're getting a lot longer run times. Even though the system's running a lot longer, you are not using as much wattage for its operation. So for instance, if first stage pulls, I don't know, 6 amps, and at the condenser, if first stage pulls 6 amps at 240 volts, let me do this here real quick because I don't do that math in my head. I'll tell you what. We'll say that it's just pulling an even 6 amps on line 1 and line 2, and we're pulling in 120 volts to ground, line 1 and line 2, and we will see what the wattage is. Airside, what's going on here? I guess I haven't given it enough information. Let me try it this way. Let's do it that way. Yeah, 240 times 6. At 6 amps, it's 1,400 watts. If we hit second stage at 10 amps, just 4 amps higher, we don't exactly double, but we add another 1,000 watts. So at 1,400 watts, you are able to run longer at that wattage consumption and still not spend as much money as if you hit second stage and ran half of that time. The numbers aren't perfect to put it that way, but the basic concept is that first stage running longer, as long as the system's able to maintain comfort, is going to save you money because you're not using the watts that you would use otherwise. I'm going to excuse myself for a minute because I need a drink. I'm talking too much. So I probably should be checking the comments over on the live feed because I haven't. I've been so busy talking, I haven't paid much attention. Yeah, Rasta says more information about the call where I drilled the orifices is very helpful. Thanks, Rasta. Thanks for watching. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but at the same time, I think that sometimes it's simpler to describe a situation in words than it is to try to show it, or they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but at least sometimes a vocal discussion is so much simpler than a text discussion. I do that all the time. Somebody will text me and I will just shoot a video and talk to them rather than send them a text message. You know who you are. What else do we got? Project Malosh. I've got a video scheduled to launch later tonight. Actually launching in a couple of hours. I went back to Project Malosh, and he's making some pretty good-looking progress over there. I just stopped in to see what it looked like on my way up to the other job, to see if he had hired somebody else to finish the job or something. Joking. But that's looking really good. I think that it's going to be a really nice house when they're all said and done. I don't recall if I had mentioned it, but I'll mention it again for those of you that may have not watched that series of videos. I think I'm on part 7. 7 videos for one job. Well, when you do it only on the weekends, I guess that's how it goes. But his house was something like 1,100 square feet. The original house. And he went from 1,100 square feet to almost 3,400 square feet. And that's just mind-blowing. 1,100 square feet to me is a very small house. They are having or were pregnant with a kid. I think their son's come now. I think. And then they're planning on a second child. So they wanted to have, room for the kids to grow. And they like the location of the house. They bought very well into the neighborhood, and the house has valued ridiculously with the additional square footage. So congrats to them on that. And the house is really coming along. I think at midnight when the video posts, you guys will enjoy. I'm not very good at multitasking. But yeah. I'm getting commentary and I'm trying to see if it's something I need to. First Choice Service LLC. You've missed everything. Of course, by now you probably have watched everything that you missed. But if you watch the YouTube feed, you'll catch up on everything you've missed. What else do we got? Oh, I have an idea for a video, and I was wondering if I could get some feedback on whether you guys would be interested in seeing it. I was thinking the other day that I have this Bradford White water heater that leaked on me, brand new. And I was thinking about doing a anatomy of a water heater video where I took it apart and showed the construction of it. I don't know if I'm going to go so far as to try to grind it and cut it in half or anything crazy like that, but I could if that would interest some of you. And then I was actually thinking that I would try to build something else out of the gas valve and burner assembly, something that I don't know, a fire starter for a fire pit or whatever. It would be really cool to repurpose brand new gas valve and burner. Just because the tank leaked doesn't mean that the other stuff is garbage. Actually threw away the old tank before I had time, or before I thought about scavenging the gas valve and the burner off of it, because the issue was with the tank, not the gas valve or the burner. It was either the thermostat wasn't working properly so that it wouldn't get the tank as hot as it should have been, but that can't be right. When I did my combustion analysis with Nicholas Rowan, we found that the stack temperature was ridiculously high, well, higher than it was supposed to be, or in the higher end of an allowable range, which meant that it was rejecting more heat rather than absorbing it into the water, which meant that the tank was not transferring to the water like it should be, which is most likely slime and sludge from 15 years of water in the tank, insulating the tank from the heat. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, see if you guys would be interested in seeing an anatomy of a water heater, and thank you. I'm getting a vote towards opening up the water heater. I'm not going to do it tonight. That would be insane. But yeah, I've got to be pretty for my next video. What else we got? One of these days, I am hoping to replace the system in my own house. I have got a 3-ton system that is zoned equally, actually. It's equal amount of duct delivery upstairs as it is down. The returns are equal up and down. I've got 12-inch flex to each supply zone, and then I've got 12-inch flex to each return, and I've got a return in the first floor and a return in the second floor. And I was trying to decide, and I'll take another opinion poll, I guess. I'm not going to actually do a poll because I don't have the brain capacity to figure that out. But leave comments and such, or leave comments now while we're playing, and tell me, would you go for a would you rather go for a high-end, high-SEER hybrid split, or if you don't expect to be able to sell the property well enough to actually recoup a high-end system, what are your thoughts on a 14, excuse me, what are your thoughts on a 14 SEER hybrid split? I wouldn't be going two-stage at that point, but I could go two-stage gas. Maybe. As soon as I go two-stage gas, I'm spending more money. I don't like to do single-stage systems on its own, because you're expecting the full capacity of the system to be able to maintain without tripping limits, either overcooling or overheating, whenever you're only running on one zone. Luckily, I am equally split between first and second floor, but still, if you've got 36,000 BTUs of cooling and you're only pushing 600 CFM of air through half a zone or half of the house, and you are either dump zoning or bypassing or whatever you do with the unnecessary airflow, you run that danger. If you oversize each zone and then you run first stage at 60% capacity, then you have the capacity in first stage to run one zone, and then when you need both zones, you run full capacity or full tonnage. High-end hybrid or low-end hybrid? What do you think? Gee, thanks, Jason. Oh, Jason. Thanks so much. Maybe I should just go to bed now. If I look tired, I need my beauty sleep. This is half of the reason I didn't do the hangout last night, because I was worse. I had just worked all days Friday. At least today I just did what I wanted to do rather than doing what I was told to do. It's just OJ. And it's not a screwdriver, just OJ. Oh. What else we got?
How many people have keys to open the gate? Yes, that's true. Thanks.
I'm kind of out of things to talk about without somebody to talk to. Where are all the people I invited? I invited several. I've got no friends. I didn't give them much of a warning, but that would be my problem. What? Wow. Where you at? I'm talking to the people I invited. Yeah, it's a bad habit. Yeah. Well, I tried. I thought I wouldn't need this much of a script. Hey, I hear noises. Halt, who goes there? Billy.
What's up?
Same thing from a different day.
One of those.
One of those. Oh. What'd you get in today?
I had the fun day of bringing my daughter to her dance class and then hanging out with the new baby all day. So that's really it.
How is the new baby treating you?
He's good. I am actually in the car driving now, going to get some kind of gas relief for the little kid because he just can't stop farting like crazy. So
He doesn't act like his dad, does he?
I keep, for whatever reason, he keeps getting these nasty pains, and it's just horrible for him. So my wife found some stuff, and she said,
Huh?
"Yeah." I said, "Well,
There's another jug. Who is that? Hold on. Who's calling? Because if you call me, that doesn't get you in on the chat. That's just a call to me. If you give me commentary on the other video, is that Jason? Okay. Uno momento. So the kid has the farts, huh?
yep, the kid's got the farts."
That's fun.
Yeah.
Just as long as Mama and Daddy don't have the farts along with them and the whole house blows up, it should be all right.
Yeah, definitely don't want any oversized orifices in that place.
You're a funny man, Billy. You are a funny man. Who's the other person calling me? I can't answer an incoming call. That looks like maybe it's Larry Cole. That's who it is. Let me try again. Larry. You should be able to respond to that invitation link and come. Come into my world. Minute Maid Peach. If I can't sell tools for whatever company, I'll sell peach juice. Oh goodness.
Yeah, you must be tired if you're trying to peddle peach juice.
Yeah. Must be. Okay. Have you tried again, Jason, or what's the deal? Let's see. Yeah, if I could screen share that, that'd be awesome. Oh, goodness. Hold on. I gotta let the beast out in the backyard. He's gotta go take a leak.
You mean the dog, right?
Oh, that doesn't have any of my really cool hair in it. Oh, goodness. Ralph, John Israel, you guys don't like me anymore? Oh, I guess we could. Hey, I think there's a Larry Cole in the building. What's up, Super Tech?
I'm kicking your ass. You know that, don't you?
Oh, I don't know how that word ever became a bad thing. Goodness.
Yeah.
It's an egotistical thing is what it is, and it's tongue-in-cheek 99% of the time. So what'd you get in to do today, Larry?
Nothing. I didn't do a damn thing today.
Besides, no, I didn't call you, did I?
No.
I said I might if I ran into trouble,
Yeah.
but I think everything went pretty well. What'd you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was surprised that the 43s didn't work.
I was. I mean, they did. If you go back and watch the beginning of my little talk here, they were fine. The oxygen and I'm having a brain fart. It's CO2 or is it CO? I don't remember. No, it is CO2, isn't it?
Yeah.
The oxygen and CO2 were within 6 and 9% with the 43s.
Right.
And I guess that's where I say they did work. The BTU input was not right.
Right.
And that's where you balance your BTU input with your proper combustion. And if your input is low, you need to, but your combustion's fine, you need to get more input so that you can keep your combustion but get more performance. So
right.
the 43s didn't work, but in one way they did if you ignored 13,000 BTUs.
Well, 13,000 is a lot.
Yeah, in cooling BTUs, that's 1.5 tons, right?
Right.
So.
Well, actually, it's just a little over a ton.
You're right, 12,000.
Right.
I keep forgetting that that is an option with some equipment. You certainly don't see a 1-ton system, but I have seen some reference of model numbers that showed 12,000 BTUs.
Right.
But anymore, you'd wait for 6 weeks for them to build you one, or 6 months. So you'd
Right.
never be able to get the job because they wouldn't be willing to wait, and some jackleg would throw in 1.5 tons and call it good.
Well, if you stop and you think, you get down to that small, window shaker is really where you're going to find it.
Right. Well, that's where you get a lot of mini splits anymore.
Right.
But you find a lot of times that the room only needs 9,000 BTUs with a mini split, but they end up putting a 12 or 18 in it because that's what they can get a hold of without, it's all about convenience.
Yeah, but you can take an inverter drive mini split and get down to 1 ton.
Right. Yeah.
So that would be the way to go.
I won't begin to say that I completely understand the mini splits, but
Well, I don't deal with them either because it's just you can't get parts for them.
Mm.
I mean, they're good equipment as long as they're running, but once they break down, Jesus, it takes forever to get apart.
Yeah.
And when it's 117 degrees outside,
Yeah.
you don't want to have that discussion. Well, you can't. I can't get the cooling for 3 weeks because the part it's going to take 3 weeks to get.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to have that conversation.
No, customer will not bother to call you back. Mike Palace wanted to say hello. We've been talking over you. You popped in quietly.
Boo.
But yeah. How's the weather down there in Burgaw?
Well, in Virgo, I don't know, but in Wilmington, it's 34 degrees.
You don't have a weather channel in your little intersection at Burgaw? They
Nope.
take their temperature for Wilmington.
Yeah, my app automatically uses my GPS to let me know when it checks my weather.
Yeah.
I can put a certain city in there and say that city, and then it'll check it, but
Right.
I can care less what it is where I ain't.
Jason Strom. Is it Strom or Strom?
Interest some of you. And then I was actually thinking that I would try to build something else
Hello.
out of the gas valve and burner assembly.
Jason.
I don't know, a fire starter for a fire pit or whatever.
Mute that other video, Jason.
Repurpose brand new gas valve and burner.
Mute that other video, Jason.
Doesn't mean that the other stuff is garbage. Actually threw away the old tank before I had time, or before I thought about
Jason.
scavenging the gas valve and the burner off of it, because the issue was with the tank, not the gas valve.
There we go. Jason, sorry, I muted you until you mute the other video. Did you just kick yourself back on? Or is that Billy making noise? Did you do anything fun today, Palace?
I'm putting a video together right now. I don't know if you remember, but the gas valve I changed out, I had to go back to it. It's been about a little bit over 2 weeks. The rollout switch went out on it. I had to change it today.
Well, that's not too bad, huh?
Well, it didn't kick out because it rolled out. It just, that switch was decided to actually just quit.
Right. Yeah. Well, changing those rollouts is usually pretty simple.
Yeah, I'm just glad it didn't have actually a rollout. It just malfunctioned, and I just had to replace it.
Cool.
But the funny thing is, when that switch is not working and you put power to that unit, the indoor fan and the inducer fan will run nonstop. Don't matter if the thermostat's calling or not.
Really?
Yep. Because when they called, they said, I don't have no heat and the fan is blowing cold air. First I thought was they had to switch to on instead of auto.
Right.
They got it, it's got the emergency switch right above it that you mount in commercial. They had that off, so there was no display, but the fan was still running. So I went up there and disconnected the 24 volts on R going to the thermostat, and it's still done it. So I started checking it out, and the first thing I thought was the overheat switch kicked out, because they have a bad habit of closing 70% of the vents to get the air to blow out in one area. But they had it all open, so I looked somewhere else and I found that the rollout was not sending voltage. So I jumped it out, the inducer fan motor and the indoor fan motor quit, then it fired up.
That's got to be a safety, where if that rollout trips, it wants to continue to try to pull the draft fumes through the heat exchanger and keep that heat exchanger cool.
That's the only thing I could think of, because that's cooling it in two directions, inside and out of it.
Yeah.
And it shut the gas valve down. That's the only thing I could think of, some kind of way it just to cool it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of manufacturers do that.
Okay.
Every time a high temperature limit trips or a rollout switch trips, that the furnace thinks it's on fire, so it's trying to put itself out by blowing the flames out. Now, a lot of them will also turn on the blower when you reverse polarity, and the key is to that is your induced draft motor's not going at that particular point in time. So whenever you first fire a furnace up and the blower blows, that means you have reverse polarity. But if you fire a furnace up and the induced draft motor and the blower both are going, that means you have a rollout switch or a high temperature limit tripped.
Huh. Be nice if they'd put that in the paperwork.
No, they don't.
Jason, it looked like you were trying to watch the stream and join the group. That doesn't work very well.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. How are you?
Good.
I haven't really had a chance to meet you other than in the comments. And
Peace.
whereabouts are you, and how do you pronounce the last name?
We're in Chicago, Illinois, and
Okay. Strom. Okay. And what are you into? Commercial, light industrial, or whatever?
commercial light industrial. A lot of city work,
Yeah.
a lot of rooftops, a lot of data centers.
Yeah. Cool. You freezing to death out there?
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. We haven't got that winter storm yet, so that's coming
Really? That'll be fun.
Sunday to Monday. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to come down to us anytime soon in the Carolinas, but
I think
it usually comes in some form. Most of the time we get rain when you don't get snow, just because of the precipitation.
Yeah,
And it's not cold enough to freeze.
exactly.
How long have you been in the industry, I'm saying?
13 years.
Yeah? Where did you start? Did you start commercial?
Yeah, right off the bat. I went to Environmental Technical Institute, which is closed now, back in 2002. And the first company that hired me was a commercial company, and that's all I've ever done ever since.
Cool.
Yeah. It's better than crawl spaces and attics. I like my rooftops.
Yeah. I enjoy the rooftops when it's not raining. and
Yeah.
it's not freezing cold and blowing. So,
When I'm swearing.
yeah.
Wishing I was a cubicle junkie.
Yeah. I'd love to be a counterman right now.
Exactly.
Let me put in an application at Johnstone and RE Michael and United. Just anywhere that's got a counter inside.
Yeah, here we got Porter Pipe, which is the same union, so that's almost like that would be the way I would go if I ever had to.
I need to feed the moron dog here, so hold on a second.
All right. What's going on, Larry and Paulus?
Hey,
Not a whole lot.
Good,
What's going
good.
on with yourself?
Not too much. Enjoying my Saturday.
Yeah. Well, our Saturday started out a little wet, but then it dried out.
I think we're at 35 degrees today, so it was nice. Snow melting.
Well, I won't tell you what I was at, because you'll be jealous.
Uh-oh.
Nah, we got up to 64 today.
I don't hear that.
Well, that's cold for us.
Where you at?
Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah, I have family out there, Scottsdale area.
Yeah.
Nice vacation spot. Last time I was there, though, was like August. It was really freaking hot.
Yeah. August, you don't want to come in August. August is just ridiculous.
I lived out there for 8 years, but I never remember it being that hot.
Well, it has gotten hotter as time has went on. You know, I moved out here in the early 80s, and it would cool off at night. Nowadays, it don't even cool off at night.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
we'll stay 100 degrees all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, Steven, that that two-stage furnace you were talking about earlier, the Y1 and Y2.
Why? Yeah.
Yeah, or Y-low.
Yeah.
Is that connected to a 16i?
No. It's connected to a Ream Prestige.
Oh, okay. Was it a ring furnace?
No, we had a TUY 120 furnace tied to a Ream two-stage AC.
Okay, now that's an unloading scroll.
You'd know better than I do.
But the Y-low, there is a BK jumper wire that's on that board. It sits right by the W14. Okay, if you don't clip that, then the blower will never go into low speed.
Right.
So that may be your problem
Gotcha.
that you're seeing.
That makes sense.
I'll have to double check that when I do the
Right, because you can
cooling
wire.
check.
Yeah, you can check Y1 and Y-low, but look on that board. It's right there by the blower. I mean, right in front of the blower, and you'll find the W14. It'll say W14 in white, and then there's a little wire. It looks like a little shape of a snowman. That's your BK terminal. Just clip it, and then
Okay.
that's what slows that blower down to 80%, so it'll run in low speed. But without it being clipped, it's not going to run. It thinks it's hooked up to high all the time.
Okay, so it's the BK jumper is a Y1, Y2 jumper. Also.
Right. But it's completely off the low voltage terminals. It's right in the middle of the
Right.
freaking board.
Yeah, I've seen the BK
Yeah.
several times, and it's very rarely actually cut or broken.
Well, the only time you ever cut it is for the 16i or the two-stage scroll.
Right.
That's the only time you ever cut it.
You're a wealth of information, but it was kind of weird because they've actually I'm not 100% sure which thermostat they've got over there, but it's an HD color screen Honeywell with a equipment interface module.
Okay. It's the indoor air quality or Q thermostat.
Well, the IAQ was the old 8000 screen with the green backlight.
Right.
This is a smaller HD display, 2 communicating wires, and that's it going to the thermostat. But
Right. I'll tell you the name of it here in a minute.
they've got
Prestige.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, Prestige. I have one.
I didn't pay attention to if there was a label that said anything other than Honeywell.
No, it's only got Honeywell on it, but it's a Prestige.
So they've got that system, right?
Right.
Which means that their display and their equipment interface only have 2 wires going from back and forth.
Right,
And
but
so
if
the interface is sitting on top of the furnace on both systems.
right,
On the first floor system, the train system I was dealing with, they had set the thermostat up to control 2-stage.
right,
They had a 2-stage system, but they only ever connected W1 to the equipment interface and then jumped it at the furnace, which is fine because then you get a delay rather than staging by the thermostat.
right.
But why bother setting up your thermostat for staging when the system's not going to respond to it because it's not got nothing connected to it?
Right. Well, some people wire kind of funny, so
Yeah.
like I said, I don't like to pick on other people's work because you don't know what they're thinking when they put it in.
Right, but there is no sense behind programming the thermostat for 2-stage and only wiring it for single.
Right.
There's no purpose.
Right.
I can understand if they have a tired moment.
Right. Well, there again, you don't know what they're thinking.
Mm-mm.
So they may have was right in the middle of it, and then they got called away and come back to it, and they forgot about it. You never know.
Right.
So,
That happens too.
Yeah. Now, are you working for a train dealer?
Yeah. Cape Fear deals train.
Okay. Now, do you get into because you spoke earlier about your house and you're going to change the system
Yeah.
in your house. Have you checked out Trains? Now, American Standard can't get it, but Trains residential zoning system. Do you know anything about it?
No, I don't think that we're, despite being a train dealer, I don't think that we are selling the train zone system.
Well, I know you're not because it's not hard once you understand it, but most people shy away from it because it is complicated to set up. But once you get it set up, it is a beautiful running system. I'm serious.
Is it? It's not the communicating stuff.
It's communicating.
Okay.
Yeah, but in reality, you have to have at least 3 zones on there for it to work like it should. Now, what I would do at your house means you have an upstairs, downstairs, and both zones are evened. What I would do is I'd take the upstairs and make 2 zones out of it, and zone 2 down in the downstairs, and make a 4-zone system out of it. And then I would use Train's residential zoning system.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, you won't find a better running system than that one right there.
You sure it beats Infinity?
Oh yeah, hands down.
Really?
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
Or Harmony 3?
Let me tell you, Carrier makes the best controls in the world. There's no denying that. But when it comes to equipment, Train's got everybody beat.
Yeah, Carrier makes some pretty garbage equipment sometimes.
The iView system sucks.
Right. Well, like I told you, everybody can say whatever they want, but when it comes to equipment, Train probably is the best. Now, can they put out a
Yeah.
piece of shit? Yeah, they can. Trust me. I've been there, seen that one. But anybody can do that.
Right. What did you say that Carrier made the worst of, Jason?
iView, which is their commercial management system.
Okay. I was going to figure that it was commercial because I didn't even have any idea what you said.
Yeah, it's IVU, and it's a LAN system.
It's a lawn talk, what they call lawn talk.
Correct.
And it's the baud rate is what that is.
All the points and everything that you have to actually program is just ridiculous. It's not something you just take out of the box, plug in, and just done. You have so many points to program, it's not even funny.
They want to make sure you make a good hourly wage.
If that's the case, I'd rather go with like a Honeywell Silk system. That's a control system.
Yeah, when you get into building automation systems, you'll find out that most of them aren't compatible with a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
But trust me on this one. Check out Train's residential zoning system. They don't use bypass dampers or anything.
Right.
They use what they call a relief. And what it is the thermostats actually send back signals to the controller that they say, well, we're X amount of degrees away from set point. We're getting ready to call for a heating call or a cooling call, and if it's running in that mode and it has just closed down a zone and it sees that this zone here is getting ready to call, it'll crack that damper and allow air to go there instead of using a dump or a bypass. It's tricked. And I'm gonna tell you, people that have it out here, because I've been around several installations, they don't even know when their system's running. That's how damn quiet it is. They just know it's on.
Yeah.
So you have 6 zones. Only one is calling. What do you do about that excess air?
Well, the excess air gets relieved through all the zones.
Okay, so it's bleeding through all the zones.
Right. It cracks each and every damper.
Okay.
And it relieves it that way. Now you're going to have to reduct more than likely, go to bigger ducts. But
yeah, handle that.
Yep, to handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a sweet system. Pardon?
It's just called Train Residential Zoning?
Yep, that's what it is. And Train won't sell it to you unless you're a Train dealer.
Or you have an account?
Well, yeah, if you have an account, they'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
That's what a Train dealer means.
Yeah.
What? 1 second. Again.
I had to let the dog out, evidently.
Again.
Maybe the dog's got problems.
Maybe.
Evidently he ate something that didn't agree with him. So who's going to win the Super Bowl tomorrow?
Are you going since you're over there?
Hell no. I'll be glad when this son of a bitch is over.
Are you in that area, Glendale?
Well, I'm west of Glendale. I'm probably about 5 miles away from the stadium. But see,
they live in Glendale.
Yeah, but see, the problem of it is they got the Super Bowl going on, plus the Phoenix Open's going on. So this town here is crazy.
It's gotta be fun.
Oh yeah, well you're not going anywhere anytime quick, that's for sure.
Everybody's staying in the house.
Yeah, and they got more private jet planes that parked at the airport than you can shake a stick at.
Yeah, I believe that. What, at Sky Harbor or?
Yeah, Sky Harbor. So that means all the rest of the airports around here are jacked around. I would imagine Scottsdale's pretty heavy too.
Yeah, and then all the private deals.
Right. So, yeah, it's been nuts the last 2 weeks, traffic-wise.
Yeah, I believe that. It's bad enough down there with all the snowbirds.
Right. What's the matter with your dog?
Nothing other than, very needy.
Oh, well, I thought maybe he ate something, didn't agree with him. He keeps kept running and out.
No, he just requires to go in when he's out and out when he's in.
Well, he's a kid.
Yeah. He is a child.
There you go. Yeah. But
I figured a late night talk show would be the best.
well,
But,
What happened to my 1 o'clock idea?
I was going to do it, but I was at the orifice drilling job until 2.
So you couldn't get any different orifices, huh, for the factory, the 43s?
Could
we
not get them.
we got 43s. They just want the right 43s.
The right threaded ones, because they're all different, right? The threads?
Well, it's not even the same. I mean, it's like trying to take a Sharpie marker versus a pencil or a mechanical pencil that nowhere near in the same ballpark.
Well,
Like a
it's
0.5 to a 0.7 different type of.
Yeah.
it's like this. You remember them big crayons you used in kindergarten?
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're using a pencil. That was it would never work.
No. I would have had to tap the factory orifice to put in the orifice that Larry was able to find that was a 43.
Yeah, 'cause I noticed they did have different threads on them, like different manufacturers, but I wasn't sure about the actual hole size, if that was a 43 is the same as like any other 43.
Yeah, they are, except the orifice itself, the actual physical size, for some reason, Train has 2 different physical sizes of them. One of them's real small, the other one's rather large.
Yeah,
So-
one question I did pose to Jim Bergman about the clock and the meter is commercial. I've got some units that are, some buildings that are like 30 units. How am I supposed to clock the meter on that? And he said that I would have to get some kind of inline type of meter or something.
Sublet meter.
Sublet?
You'd have to pipe it into the system you're trying to clock, and then
No way.
right, yeah, you'd almost want to do something like that on install.
Yeah, yeah.
When you know that you're going to have 30 different units, you'd almost want to pipe in a sublet meter right there.
Half of the time I can't even get them to put a
An outlet.
no, yeah, just the gas cock outlet.
Yeah.
Just tap in. They don't even do that for the installs. It's like, come on, think about this.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about the money they save.
Right.
That's what it is. It's just like going to a building with water source heat pumps, and they don't put any shutoffs, so you can isolate the heat pump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, well, what the hell are you guys thinking? You know these things don't last. But no, you guys shut down the whole damn building, drain that system just to take out that one system. Everybody's pissed at you because they don't have any air conditioning. Oh, well, don't get pissed at me.
You're the asshole, though.
Right, exactly.
Not the people that put it in.
Right. They saved all of what, $5 per shut off.
Which doesn't make sense because you can charge the customer in the first place.
Right.
Marked up, why not? You know, it's drives me
Well,
nuts.
it's all about getting that bid. It's all about being the lowest bidder so you can get the job.
Or the salesman just doesn't have any knowledge of anything.
Well, I find salesmen aren't very knowledgeable in the first place. At least not around here.
Yeah. Which is nice with our salesman. There's always a tech that goes with the salesman. Oh, nice popcorn. Share. We always follow the salesman. So if he's going to a new account or some kind of install, a tech does meet up with him. So they kind of come up with the same idea of what to do.
Right. Well, in reality, salesmen should know duct. They should be able to look at a duct system and find out if the airflow is correct or not. And that's not that hard to do. I'm not asking something impossible for them to do. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's just simple math.
Yeah, we don't have tech or salespeople like that. All our techs do all the sizing.
Well, see, to me, the salesperson is the first person in the sales process. Yeah, he's the one that's going to sell the equipment, but in reality, he needs to know going in.
He is, or he's not on.
He needs to know going in the process of how this thing works, and that's what used to piss me off at Train when I was at Train as the technical support person, because my boss would always tell me, "Oh well, the salespeople don't need to know exactly how that thing works. Only thing they need to know is how to sell it." Bullshit. They need to know how the son of a bitch works, because if they don't, then how the hell do they know that's the piece of equipment they need?
Yep.
Yeah, we're basically our own salesman when it comes down to it. 'Cause a lot of our accounts, we've had 15, 20 years. The customer trusts us.
Right.
So even bringing a salesman in there would just make it kind of complicated. So it almost comes down to you figure it out, you sell it, make it work. But we'll take the commission. We don't get the commission, but the salesman does for whatever reason.
That's ridiculous.
Right?
He didn't do anything.
No, he just marked up the price. He takes the price, marks it up with that special number, sends it to me, I give it to the customer, and he gets the commission.
That's because he's the owner's brother-in-law.
I wish. No family in this one.
Although I have ran across some salesmen that are real good at what they do.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've ran across a salesman one time, and he could sell frickin' Eskimos refrigerators. I mean, that boy was good.
I had one salesman, all he did was look at Google Earth and looked at the rooftops. Okay, there's like 5 up there. No, there's some exhausts up there too. How about that?
Right. Well,
Oh, no, it'll work. Okay. Sure.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And then around here, after the salesman leaves, his band of untrained idiots comes in and does the installation.
Yeah, next thing you know, you have a 20-ton crane when you needed a 80.
Right.
That'll reach.
Well, the way I look at it, the salesperson should know exactly what that equipment weighs, and they should know exactly what size of crane they need.
Yeah.
That's what I say about that.
But that's just me. I mean, if I'm going to be held accountable, so should they.
Right.
I agree.
Just that simple. They should know just as much as I know.
But then you have to pay those guys better.
Well, they get paid good enough. Just tell them, okay, now you have these tools, go out and use them. And your commission, okay, we'll give you a better commission because I know that your pricing is going to go up because all this extra work you're going to start to find.
Yep. It's kind of funny. This guy that I did the orifice drill for, he said, Steve, can you do a maintenance agreement for me? And I said, you know, honestly, I don't have the infrastructure to really start. I don't know. I could work on it, but I don't have the patience to build an infrastructure to start developing maintenance agreements for customers that want to call me exclusively. And I need to keep track of them, but you know, to try to do maintenance for them is a dangerous thing because, you know, as soon as you start doing maintenance for them, you also have to do emergency service.
Oh,
Right.
you equipment.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't really be picking up a maintenance customer and have them expect that I can just come out anytime they call because I have a full-time job.
Right.
They don't understand. I've come across that a lot as far as like doing some side work. You marry the equipment, but when that breaks down, it's usually when you're at your busiest at your job.
Yep.
So it's like 9 o'clock before you can even go there. Are you doing them a service by doing that? You know, just because they save a couple going through you
Yep.
personally compared to a company. I don't know. I tend to just blow everybody off now.
Yeah.
Right. You guys are stuck between a rock and a hard spot.
Yeah. If you
Realistically,
do it, you gotta go all the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it either. I'd just tell them, no, I really can't do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can call me up and I'll tell you if I can get there or not.
Right.
Just that simple. Because whenever I'm out doing training in the summertime and I have a customer that goes down, I can't get to them.
No.
So, but I have a lot of buddies around here that all I have to do is pick up a phone and say, hey, look, I got this customer down. Can you go take a look? And they'll do it.
Yeah.
Because they know if they don't, well, next time they pick up the phone and want to call me and ask me a question, I'm going to tell them, screw you, dude.
Right. You left me hanging last time.
That's right.
Sure.
So that's how it works. But realistically, the guys that live around here that I know that will go run the call, they don't have a problem with it at all.
Right. That's the thing. I have a hard time finding very many technicians, if any, that I would trust to go to a customer that has put their faith in me.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of good guys, but they will even admit that they aren't me. And especially in the Raleigh market, you know, down in Fayetteville, I would let Cape Fear run anything that I would run. But
Right.
Up here in the Raleigh market, I don't have those people to say, you know, can you catch these when, or even a company. You know, I know Eagle Mech was talking about it when he did a vlog from the truck early when I started watching him, Eagle Mechanical.
Right.
Mr. Quan Rawls. He was talking about, you know, if you go on vacation or you have some family thing that pulls you away or whatever it is, how do you take care of your customers for emergencies when you're not around? You need to have that right-hand guy or that friend that you know is not going to go over there and say, oh, this gas pressure's too low or whatever, you know? You can't have somebody that doesn't understand combustion analysis or doesn't understand airflow and go over there and say, oh, this is all wrong, and change everything that you've very specifically set up for performance.
Tell the customer, what the hell are they thinking?
Yeah.
What the? Yeah.
Well,
Usually the guys around here they won't get into that because they don't understand it. I mean, realistically, I was asked by a local distributor here to take a class, an airflow class on when was that? What's today? Saturday? It was Thursday because they wanted me to take a look at the instructor and all that. And he asked in that class, does anybody in here have a combustion analyzer? I was the only one that raised my hand.
yeah.
And there was 22 of us in there.
Yeah.
He said, well, we have one.
Yeah.
So the guys around here, they don't pay any attention to that. That's how come 81% of our units in this area has charge problem because they don't pay attention to airflow. They don't pay attention to anything except they put the blinders on and they're going to fix that box.
Well,
That's
every
what
company
they do.
is going to have a mix of the techs that just want to go home after they're done and don't think about HVAC the rest of the night or the rest of the week. And you have some that are like, you know what, that stopped the hell out of me today. Let me go and research that. Figure it out. I want to know every part of that humbling moment I just had because I thought I knew it all, but obviously I don't.
Yeah.
Then you got the others that don't care and just would like, let somebody else figure it out.
Right. Well, unfortunately, Phoenix is full of the others. Let somebody else figure it out.
Yeah. And that's everywhere. That's across the board. Every company's going to have a few.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit curious about something, Steven, and since Larry's here, that'll be nice too. Why are you guys so keen on under-fired furnaces as far as trying to get that rating even higher? Thing's probably way too big for the house as it is already,
Well, yeah, around here it is because realistically our heating loads here are probably about 40,000 BTUs. Well, you don't have a 5-ton drive and a 40,000
Right.
BTU furnace. So, yeah, underfired is better for us because our drives are 4 and 5 ton because of our cooling load. So, underfired is a good thing for us. But if you're not even measuring it, how the hell are you going to figure it out?
Right.
Yeah, if you're not testing, you're guessing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's Testo's motto. If you're not testing, you're guessing.
And I'm a firm believer in having every measurement. If it's microamps, if it's what's going into my gas valve, what's coming out of it, I want to know everything, how it's working. And that's the thing about rooftops is you can't really do a combustion analysis on a rooftop. The fluid line is so short that it's right off of that inducer.
Right.
Without extension on it.
You're going to get all kinds of turbulence that's going to give you a false reading.
Correct.
Period.
So the only reason I really have a combustion analyzer is for boilers and like direct fired makeup airs. That's pretty much it.
Right. Well, you could probably come up with something you could stick over that little stack that comes off of a package unit and get a combustion analysis that way. But still, I wouldn't know how accurate it would be.
Yeah, I don't know what, like you said, the turbulence, if that's going to give me false readings every time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Being new to the combustion analysis, I've been fiddling with everything that I came across, and so I've been checking Goodman gas packs, which residential stuff is a different ball game as far as construction most of the time. A lot of those old rooftop 15-ton package units, the vent pipe on some of the old train stuff, you've just got 3 or 4 little round holes with mesh over them. There is no stack.
Right.
It's just a hole in the side of the unit with a piece of mesh to keep birds from climbing in.
You got like 2 inches.
Right. So, but I've been sticking my probe in everything, and
Well, you 16 again?
Even the Thanksgiving turkey.
Just ruin that turkey.
I think I'm blushing. But even on the Goodman residential units, they've just got this little slant hood off the side of the unit. I just get my sensor just past the face of the whatever cone I'm sticking the sensor into, and try to get it in what looks like a flow or whatever. But sometimes you just shove the sensor in there and just see what happens, just so that you can get an idea. The first guy that ever checked a unit didn't know what he was looking for. He just stuck the sensor in there and started paying attention to what he started seeing,
Right.
I'm sure there was some science behind everything, but, the bravest man in the world was the first one to drink milk.
Right. So realistically, on a package unit like that with the short stack or with no stack at all, the only thing you could do is realistically get your flue gas, not your flue gas, but your flue temperatures, and maybe work it backwards that way. But then you're still guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed package units, they want higher temperized than furnaces, and I was kind of thinking maybe because they think it might be in a place like Chicago where it's snowing outside. They don't.
Wow.
Sorry,
Joe. You keep dropping out.
Yeah, that, and typically they know that they're going to have longer duct runs on them too.
Yeah, a longer duct run is mainly the reason. Yeah, because they'll have like 35 to 65 temporized.
Right.
Booted me.
Did you miss that response?
Yeah, it booted me right when I.
Didn't like your question.
No.
Basically, longer duct runs and more extreme temperatures from the exterior as a possibility. I
don't know about commercial as far as we get all our units come from a factory that's in the area. I think every zone, let's say the north zone, south zone, east and west, have their own factories. And I think they calculate all that for that area. Because every unit I come across usually has some kind of factory marking. Like carriers have its G in the serial number. That G signifies it's from a factory in this area. And most of Chicago has a G. So it all comes from that factory. Is that a reason for that? I think for the climate. I could be wrong.
That I don't know. I don't know. I know Trane, all their commercial equipment comes from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah, Trane I think is different. They just have that. Yeah, Tennessee is like the main factory.
Right, and then their air handlers come from Vidalia, Georgia. Their condensing units, residential condensing units, come from Tyler, Texas, and their residential package units or light commercial package units come from Fort Smith, Arkansas, and their furnaces come from New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey. And then we get into their industrial stuff. Most of that comes from La Crosse, Wisconsin. They used to have a plant in Colorado Springs, but they closed that down. And Carrier, I know Carrier's got a factory out in California.
Yeah, I think they got multiple factories.
Right. They also have one in Fort Smith, Arkansas, believe it or not. It's funny, you go to Fort Smith, Arkansas, and you've got Riemann Rude. Probably about a half a mile down the road, you got Trane, and probably a half a mile down the road, you got Carrier.
Must be cheap labor.
And they're all making package units. Well, Ream and Roof's making everything out of that factory, but Carrier and Train are making package units.
Hmm.
And then Lynx is out of Dallas, but I don't know where their factories are.
I don't either.
Mexico.
Well, sometimes I think so.
I think they are. And Carrier, a lot of the ICP products are made in Mexico.
Yeah, the ICT is, yes.
Yeah, but Carrier's actually their headquarters in what? New York, Syracuse. It's United Technology, who really is.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of the Carrier Dome where the Syracuse Orangemen play?
Oh.
That's Carrier.
Hmm.
They're the one to put their name on that.
Paid good money for it too, I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. They pay
Instead
real
of
good
putting
money
it
for
into
it.
their units.
Yeah. So you got to watch out.
Let's spend $1 billion on a stadium and cut corners on every piece of metal in our air conditioning units.
Well, what I would like to see Carrier do is correct that frickin' vibration problem they've had for the last 20 years. If you notice, it doesn't matter if it's a chiller or if it's a residential piece of equipment. They all have a vibration problem. Every one of
Well,
them.
look at like on the commercial, the rooftops, anything from 3 to 10 ton. It's just a flimsy plate holding that blower motor on. It's just
Right.
a flimsy plate, and it just kind of bounces on that wheel, the blower housing.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. Well, out here in our commercial heat pumps that Carrier has, the reversing valve gets sheared off right at the valve at the hot gas discharge line. It just shears it right off, and it only takes about 6 months for it to do it. But Carrier keeps telling us, "Oh well, we don't have a problem with it." My ass.
There is a representative that I spoke to that was talking about one of their commercial units, and they said that before the construction went to garbage, they didn't need anything but the frame, the coil, the compressor, the piping, and the condenser fan motor housing and wiring or whatever, the frame, to
Right.
hold that unit together. And they went to cheaper metal and had to add a brace that went diagonally across the system, because without that brace, the whole thing folded in pieces.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, Train makes one, a package unit. I'm getting ready to take it apart. I'll try to shoot some video on it Monday. But it's got a condenser fan motor in it, and the whole lid's got to come off. And if you don't take it off in a special way, that condenser fan motor will taco that lid up, and you pick it up and it'll boom, just fold right in, just like a taco.
Really?
Yep. A lot of people don't realize that until it's too late.
Yeah.
They grab it and pick it up and say, "Well, I need a new lid now, a new top."
No.
Yep. So talk about cheap metal. That's cheap metal.
So Mr. Joe Shearer was going to make a response video to my CFM airflow issues or discussion, and part of this live chat was to give him a platform to do so, but I think he just got dropped again.
Either that, he's doing it on purpose.
His internet must be from Comcast. There he's back again.
Yeah, he's back.
I don't know why I keep annoying. Sorry, guys.
Can you connect a landline to your tablet?
Is that what it is? My internet?
That's usually why you drop connection. I mean, you should have a signal bar, but yeah.
And the bad thing is when it's doing this, it usually keeps doing it too.
Yeah. Well, you want to start talking fast?
Yeah, my just initial thought was there is no one right size for any tonnage unit. They have their limitations, but I do believe that on the front panel of most units they have all the listed heater sizes that are available for that unit, right?
Yeah.
And you check off which one you have.
Yep.
So all those kits are approved for that air handler. Now you do have to adjust, your fan speed. And I think most of the heater kits come with what fan speed they need. So that was just kind of my initial thought, was that you may, and I think Frank Mascione, he kind of hit the nail on the head. You would look up, let's say you actually do a manual J, and you have 3 tons of cooling load, but you may have 60,000 heating on a design day. So your initial thought may be, well, I have 3 tons of cooling, so I'll have 3 tons of heat pump, but not necessarily, not at 20 degrees. That 3-ton heat pump's probably only going to do like maybe 24,000
Right.
on a 20-degree day. So that would leave you with the formula that Larry posted.
Yep.
To convert your watts to BTUs, and you would see what size do you need to make up the difference. And that would be what size you would choose.
Yeah.
So maybe you lived in a place that did have a pretty. It seems our climates are similar than I would have thought they would be, Stephen. Or do you guys get snow up there occasionally?
Yeah. We don't usually get a lot for very long. I think the worst was Hurricane Fran. Yeah, Hurricane Fran. And that was maybe a week of disaster. But it was 80 degrees before and 80 degrees after.
Oh, well, yeah.
But
that is something that does change a lot, is when you do start to get freezing rain.
Yeah.
You kind of need the backup heat strips more. But,
Talk about
here in Florida, I was kind of talking to you, Stephen, and depending on my customer, if what their needs are, sometimes I'll go ahead and disconnect the heat strips from the thermostat.
Yeah.
Because, especially with programmable thermostats, they may be using those heat strips to bring the house up on a 45-degree day, where the heat pump could have done it just fine.
Yeah.
And without advanced outdoor thermostats, and that's the thing is go ahead and let your heat pump run. Understand that the air may be cooler than your body temperature, which feels not warm, but it is warming your house. Even if it's 90 or high 80-degree air, it is still warming your house. And it may have to run constantly. But it's still, in my opinion, it's still more efficient to do that than bring on heat strips, unless you need the heat.
Right. Yeah.
Because your compressor's pulling maybe, say, 10 amps, and it's giving you 24,000 BTUs. That's about a 2-to-1 ratio on heat strips. So,
yeah. When we were talking, basically said, okay, so your condenser pulls 10 amps, and you've got a 10 kilowatt heat strip in it, which pulls 42. You're pulling 4 times as much power with your electric heat. You can run your heat pump 4 times as long before you spend the same money that you spend running it for an hour. You could run the heat pump for 4 hours and spend the same amount of money that you would spend running the emergency heat for 1 hour.
right.
So, not using the emergency heat, even if it ran 24 hours a day, which would actually be great indoor air quality, would not be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to realize that on a defrost, if you had no heat strips whatsoever, on a defrost, if you had to defrost, that you would, droop a little bit, but you'd still be warming. I heard about a prototype ream or ROOD system that was actually designed to literally modulate so incrementally that it ran 24 hours a day. It never actually shut off.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of turning off and on, it just ramped way down. I think it was similar to the variable speed compressors that, adjust in 1% increments, or 1/10% or whatever it is. It literally was designed to run constantly. Because if you're moving air constantly, you're constantly filtering, you're constantly redistributing and warming cold spots and cooling hot spots. I mean, variable speed is a good thing, right? For comfort. Why not run it constantly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stress on your compressors and your fan motors also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The startup.
And then in the same mindset, I had a customer that I put in a new geothermal for several years ago. The system was 25 years old, and he had literally turned the blower motor on the day it was installed and never shut it off for 25 years and never replaced that blower motor.
Yeah, that's where it kills your motors, is your starting amps. That inrush current on, off, on, off, on, off all the time.
Yeah.
Kills your motors and your compressors.
Not to mention your utility bill.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at that. A lot of companies in the commercial side, we have part winding starts. We have, it starts with 2 compressors like a millisecond apart, but it's just enough to offset that electric bill because they're seeing the starting amps as only this instead of what it would be on one contactor. So we put in part winding starts. Just to offset that. It's almost like cheating the electric company.
Yeah.
But that's what companies are doing, just to save a little bit on it. But if they were just to put VFDs on and variable speed compressors on, they would save so much money. It's not even funny.
Not to mention the utility company wants you to use that because they don't have that big hard bang on their grid either.
Exactly. Because they have to compensate for that somehow.
Yes, they do.
On a hot day, everybody's using everything and their mother. All of a sudden, you get starting spikes. You get brown all the time.
Right. Well, yeah. These guys may not know what a brownout is, but trust me, you don't want one. We have them all the time here in Phoenix.
We have them here too. A lot.
Yep. It's because the grid can't keep up.
Yeah, so if I had it my way, all motors, all compressors would run all the time. It's just no reason to turn them off, especially if you can modulate it and variable. Why not?
Well,
yeah, you're right.
I guess that answers my question. What do I want to put in my house?
There you go.
But you can do some very
Expensive crap.
fan on there, all the bells and whistles.
You could almost just experiment with some very smaller than you would think would ordinarily cool your house single stage units and kind of do it on a budget.
Yeah, the mad scientist could definitely help me in coming up with a game plan to. But the difficult thing would be, you get all these guys that build these fancy things for their own house, and then you sell the house, and nobody else has any idea how to make it work.
Oh, yeah.
And you are that crazy guy that puts sprinklers on the outside of his house to keep the water running all the time, to keep the house cool so you don't spike your electric bill. But you spend $1 billion in water.
Right. Yeah.
It would definitely be awesome. I mean, something like Ralph's shop would be a beautiful place to play with stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
but you have to have something big enough that you can undersize, you know?
Yeah. And learn the limitations of that. Like I've kind of come close. We did. I think it was a 3,400 square foot house here in Florida with a 4-ton zone system. And
Just 1 4-ton.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was that first new construction job that we did. It was spray foam, which is gonna, moisture is gonna be an issue with spray foam. So we definitely didn't want to oversize, and we knew a little undersized would actually just make it run a lot longer, remove a lot more humidity.
You bring
but
it
I kind of think
in. When you have
what was that?
When a house is so tight like that, do you bring outside air in?
Yeah. We don't do very much though. We do as little as we can because we still feel like there's a lot through the windows, doors. I mean, this house is huge, windows and doors everywhere. How can there not still be quite a bit of infiltration?
Right.
And I do think the whole house venting dehumidifiers are pretty sweet for that,
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and bring in that outside air, but we'll filter it and condition it and then supply it. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm a fan for outside air just because we see a lot of it in commercial, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a minimum. But I'm a fan for it for the houses too,
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of fresh air circulating. You gotta change that air out at least twice a day in a house, I would think. Would be ideal. What do you think, Larry?
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of outside air. So
We kind of went around in a circle with outside air. We sealed up our duct systems. We sealed up our houses so much that we're actually going to pipe in the air now. It's like I understand
Right.
it's controlled and filtered and conditioned, which makes sense in that mark. But you don't still think there's a lot of air changes going on through the duct losses, even on some tighter homes?
Oh yeah, there's definitely that, but still, I think ASHRAE requires what 72 CFM an hour of infiltration.
Yeah, it's not right.
So windows and doors and everything like that will make up some of that, but it won't make up all of it.
Right.
So you got to figure out what your doors and your windows are doing, and your duct, of course, and then compensate that way. But around here, we don't do it because there's no sense in taking 117-degree air and dumping it across the coil, across the air conditioning coil. That just screws up the frickin' unit. That's all that does.
Yeah. That takes more energy to recondition that outside air than it's worth.
Well, you'd be surprised. We have, and I'm not knocking engineers or anything, but we have engineers that engineer in Chicago, and they'll want to bring 100% outside air across the coil and expect a building to get cool that way.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. Not around here. I'm sorry.
It's like we have an account that Texas, they brought in their own technicians and everything. The whole service department came out here from
Right.
Texas to
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
None of the economizers were even set up. That's because they didn't use them. They didn't even know how to set them up. So I thought that was pretty funny. After 4 years, we finally came in there and said, you don't have any economization at all. They're like, what? It shows on our computers we do. Well, so.
Somebody's lying somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to mark up the job.
Well, yeah.
You order the economizers, you leave them with the customer because they paid part of the cost of them.
You guys
But you don't hook them up.
Can we keep the extra boxes over here?
Yeah.
Well, have you guys ever looked at a set of plans and look at the top and see the set of plans and spec for carrier equipment? Every
Yeah.
one of them are that way. You know why that is? Because if they happen to use carrier equipment on that particular job, carrier gives the architect that drew the freaking plans out a kickback because he put carrier's name on the top of that plan.
That makes sense.
Really?
Yep,
Yeah, in a way.
that's exactly why.
Is that some
This-
kind of program they have with the with all the draftsmen, architects?
Absolutely. It's one of those deals that nobody knows about except architects and manufacturers.
And
You know what I
Larry.
mean? Yeah, well, the reason I found that out is because Train's pissed off about it. It has been for years.
There goes Joe again.
I'm gonna have to find something else to eat. Popcorn is not gonna hit it.
What you need a little chocolate and popcorn. That's the thing right there.
Thumbs up from Billy.
That's right, that salt sweet thing.
Mm-hmm. So Paolo's posted in the comments, heat strip size is your heat load minus your cool load divided by 3,412, or is
Yeah.
that 3.412?
Yeah, it should be 3.412 is your watt.
No, it's 3412. Because
Well, let's say if it's 3,412 watts, if you turn it to kW, it's 3.412.
that is the KW.
Really?
Yep.
I thought it was.
I'm gonna see what happens here.
Like if you got 53,066 heat load and a 36,000 AC load, which is a 3-ton, which comes up to 1760, and divide that by 3412 will give you a 5 kW to make up the ensure the moisture control.
He's talking about the balance point of a heat pump.
Okay.
Okay. What was it? Heat load minus cool load? And that's your
KW.
heat gain versus heat loss, right?
Right.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity. I'm putting in gas furnaces, but still.
Well, around here we don't deal with that crap because we don't use backup heat.
Right.
That's all you'll find out here is gas.
Well, if they're smart, they'll have gas.
Occasionally we do have a heat pump out here, which is weird.
Well, a heat pump will still work, but good luck on getting that thing to ever shut off.
Yeah, especially at -10.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, 1 kW is 3,412.
I mean, it doesn't
Yeah,
make any
because
sense.
3,412 BTUs equals 1K.
Correct. Yeah, and
1,000.
what's the 3.412?
That's just a number that's an engineering number. That's all that is. Where it comes from, I have no idea.
Well, it's saying that on this heat gain of 31,199 and a heat loss of 25,533, I got a 1.6 kW.
Okay. You're never going to get there. It's 1,000 watts.
Right, I'm just saying that on that particular system, it would spec for a 2 kilowatt heat strip.
Well, they don't make it, so you ain't going to get it.
Right, I'm just saying that.
Sounds like you're going to take a 5 kW and restrip it.
That's right.
But that is the manual international book code. That's how they figure to tell you what size KW you have to have after you do a heat load calculation on a building, and you take the heat load and the AC load, and that's how you get your KW.
But you would look at your expanded rating for that degree temp for that day, right?
3.412 is BTUs per watt.
Yeah.
And 1,000 watts gives you 3,412 BTUs. That's why it's a kilowatt.
There you go.
There you go, Zach Ciota. Thank you for commentating. You are the man with the plan.
Now, are you looking at 34.12?
No.
Okay.
No, he's 3,412.
Yep, I
Yeah.
did 3,412.
And you came out with 2 something?
1.66.
What kind of heat load did you have on there?
199.35.
I didn't think. Okay, I didn't think it was much if you come in something that short.
Right. Yeah, obviously it's not very big. What are you doing, Billy? You in the are you in the cat litter box?
Right next to the dog. They're sharing little treats.
Little nuggets.
Little chocolate nuggets.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Thanks for subscribing, Rob HVAC. You know, it's weird. All these people that you've had discussions with, and then come to find out they never subscribed to you until recently. But probably what it is Ralph, when he stole my 1,000th subscriber, people just forgot to ever subscribe again, and they were following me on Google Plus, so they got my notifications. Ralph's a rascally little boy. Ralph, where are you? I gave you an invitation. I know you're not working on your shed at 12 o'clock at night.
Oh, he may be.
He's got his mini split in. He's got his floor done. He's
Ceilings in.
It sounds like that floor is going to take some work.
Does he have his 2 disco balls up yet?
Yeah, with a leather floor.
Hey, Joe Shearer, First Choice Services from St. Louis says, get off your neighbor's Wi-Fi.
Get up.
That's why it's so weak.
Yeah.
Man, I'm an HVAC tech. I can't afford my own Wi-Fi. So what, Stephen, what was your temp rise on that second unit that threw you for a loop? On the one that you vlogged about?
Temp rise.
I think you said you had a 2-ton with an 8 kW and it was way off the charts or something.
You are asking for miracles, my friend.
Well, no, I'm just saying roughly. What was it like?
It was like 45, 50 degrees.
Uh-huh.
On a
And when you're doing these checks with the wireless probes, you turn it on emergency heat or something?
Oh yeah.
Only?
To do your electric heat rise check, you've got to run emergency heat. Take your
Yeah.
amps and volts and check your delta T. And then once the profiling came out for iManifold, when you do the refrigerant system or the heat pump check, you actually can't have the heat strips running, or it will add up the BTUs that you get from the heat pump and the heat strips, and you'll have kilowatts reconverted to BTUs, and BTUs from the heat pump added up, and a 2.5 ton system will show 6 or 7 tons worth of BTUs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was something like a 40 to 50 degree temperature rise with the 8 kW on medium speed on a 2-ton system.
Yeah, so you can backtrack that formula and see what your CFM was on that. You said it was like 400 or something, right?
Yeah.
What it was saying it was.
Yep.
You know, you can even go through that formula and figure out what your temp rise should be at 800.
Right.
Which I think should be like 25 or something. But
yeah,
you know, I do think that it is definitely, you can have a lot of error because let's say, you know, I know you said your probes were downstream
yeah,
from the radiant heat, but let's say you just kind of have this airstream of hotter air that passed right over the heat strips, and the other air hasn't really mixed with it.
Right. So you've got your, you know, stream of hot in the mixture of cold.
Yeah, and you just happen to put it in the hot, you know,
like
on
the
that
guy
one.
that peed in the pool.
Yeah. Basically. It seems that, because I was kind of fooling around with it on my own unit, and I unplugged, it's a ream unit, so it's got like four banks of those Kelrod heat strips. So I just started unplugging one circuit and figuring that my CFM should come out pretty similar for each circuit as I do the formula. But it really wasn't. My CFM was all over the place. So it kind of made me not really trust that too much.
When I first was taught the electric heat rise method, they had very specific stipulations on how and where to take your temperatures, and they actually said take at least 3 different supply temperatures and average them.
Yeah.
And that's where it would be nice if you could do that through the iManifold application. You know, because you've got these wireless sensors that make things so much easier. It would be really cool to be able to throw 3 supply probes, or even just piercing probes and a supply probe, and average the dry bulb temperature, and just take your relative humidity off of the one.
I'm coming after my multi-circuit cooling.
Right?
Don't get them all confused and having them work on something else. Let's get this multi-circuit.
Oh, I've been begging for a particular accessory that you're getting your multi-circuit cooling before I get mine, so don't worry about it. But yeah, you know, it makes a difference. Definitely makes a difference where you're taking temperatures from, and you know, I've even noticed that if you've got a horizontally positioned, or even vertical, but most of our stuff is horizontal. If you've got a horizontal right discharge air handler, and then you've got ducts coming off of the blower door side of the air handler trunk versus the back of the air handler trunk, you can see as much as a 10-degree difference between what comes off the back of the trunk and what comes off of the front of the trunk. So if you took temperature only on the back, you may get 90 degrees, but if you took temperature off of the front, literally straight across that duct, not downstream or upstream any different, just opposite sides of the trunk, you see a 10-degree drop. So if you read one and you take performance from there, but you never think about the other one, you're never going to get it right.
Right. And which trunk was the warmer one? Do you remember?
I used to remember, or used to have a good handle on it because I had checked it so many times.
Yeah.
But it has to do with exactly, you had mentioned that you actually like to use plenums that fit the opening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but that may be part of why I see, we don't see a lot of plenums that fit the opening here. Usually it's as big as it can get and fits the whole stinking air handler.
Yeah.
But if you have a plenum that is as big as the top of the air handler and your heat strips are on the back wall, you're going to have a cold spot.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to get, the heat is going to spiral as it comes out because it's spinning as it comes out of the motor, whatever. You know, you're going to have aerodynamics start playing games with you because you've got that cold air. But I'm pretty sure that the hot air was on the side of the trunk, so it would have been the back of the air handler, and the front of the air handler was colder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I keep those plenums. I try to, whenever I can, taper or transitioning back to that blower outlet to keep that spiraling air from, you know.
Forces it to mix more sooner.
Well, actually, I guess, okay, Larry might know more about this, but when the air leaves the blower, it's at like no static pressure, zero.
Right. It's all
but
turbulent.
very, very high velocity.
Right.
Right. You actually need that air to kind of drop some of its velocity off and build the static.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
And
Now,
then once, yeah.
Yeah, well, most people, like Steven says, most people will use a large plenum to do that. They think a large plenum will be sufficient, and it's not how large the plenum is, it's how long the plenum is.
Mm-hmm.
And they think a large plenum will create that static a lot faster. It doesn't. It's the length. It's not how big it is. That's where people get messed up.
That's exactly right, and a lot of people don't understand that when they make duct work off the ductiolators and all, it's equivalent to up to 100 feet. And they said, well, I don't have 100 feet, but they don't consider that each elbow and 45s and all that adds up as well. So most time, over 80% of trunk lines are over 100 feet if you add up the equivalent of how many feet elbows are.
Right.
But on the ductilator is only equivalent to 100 feet.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say that, that's supply and return on a ductulator. Okay.
That is correct, and that's why most people out there that really don't know how to find the philosophy and all that on the static pressure and all, where they use 0.1 because that gets you in the ballpark. But you have to figure out what is the water column on the fan squirrel cage, what's the water column drop on the coil, filter, media filter, whatever you got it, and see what the static pressure is going to be on that unit, and then set your ductilator on 0.7, 0.6, or whatever it is to keep that static pressure accurate in that ductwork.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, most people use the wrong ductulator anyway because everybody's using flex and they're using a metal ductulator too. So.
Yeah, and that just really throws it off then, yeah.
Right, exactly. But you see all references, even in class references, they'll reference a metal ductulator.
Yep. But I don't even use one. I just do all the math on the longhand and just get it right down to the point. Just because if you see it says, when you do it, it says somewhere between two lines, you don't know what that is. You got 0.1 to 0.9 options that ductilator is not going to give you. and you might
Right.
be off, most likely.
Right. And plus,
And
nobody carries half sizes or the odd sizes in ductwork anyway
Yeah.
when it comes to flex.
Yep.
yeah, and most people don't understand it. When you measure a trunk line, you need to measure the furthest boot there is to get the equivalent of how long that trunk line is.
Right. Exactly. That's
Of
that's
course.
manual D101.
That's it. But like I said, most people will put it 6 square inches per 1,000 BTU and use 0.1 on the ductulator and think they got it. Yeah, it's going to blow, but on a hot day, real hot day or a real cold day, it's not going to keep up.
Right. Well, rules of thumb never work.
No.
That's why they call them rules of thumb.
Cold doesn't work. I've been doing beer can cold. Damn it.
Well, that'll work as long as the unit's made in 1960.
Well, if it's Budweiser, and if you're using Budweiser, you that's the closest one that works.
Budweiser for what, 22? Because I use MGP for 407.
No, it's got to be a whole keg.
Do you guys use a lot of 407?
Our Lieberts do.
Okay. Now, what happens if you got a retrofit R22 system? How are you going to deal with it?
As far as what, retrofitting a Liebert?
No, just an R22 system in general, because R22 is going to get outrageous where people are not going to want to pay for it.
Honeywell says they've got like 3 that are just straight drop-ins without having to change anything. I know they've got 6 different types out, but 3 of them are like direct replacement.
Right. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got 2 systems, 2 10-ton systems, that one of them I used MO99 in, and I used new 22, and I haven't had an issue out of either one of them.
Now, is that in NU22B?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually
technically, according to the EPA, you can't physically mix them, but to take one out and put another one in, I got one that I put in like 5 years ago, the new 22B.
Right.
I have not had one problem with it since. It's
Right.
an old system, but I asked them if I can do it just to see if it was a rental property. They said, yeah, if it keeps it going, do it. And it's been 5 years, and they hadn't had no problems.
Right.
Only thing I don't like with mixed refrigerants, as far as like all the new replacements, like the 410, the 407, is you've got multiple refrigerants altogether. The chemicals, they're the azeotropic glide and all that other crap. But if you have any kind of leaks, a lot of people, what they do is they repair the leak, or they just top off the refrigerant. You can't do that. Anytime
No, you can't.
You have to pull it all out because you don't know what part of
your
that
ratio is.
Yeah.
Right. So they kind of scared us with 410A, though. It's not as bad as they were telling us.
Well, the temperature glide on 410A is 0.03%, so it's nothing. So
Still, anytime I find a leak, I dump it all and replace it all.
Even on 410?
Yeah.
Well, you're wasting your time, though.
I'd rather have it done right the first time than go back for some kind of weird reasons, like something strange is happening and nobody can figure it out because at some point I've lost too much of one type of that 410 in there. I don't know. I just don't want to take the chance. It's just like
And I wouldn't either, Jason. That's not what I mean.
Channel, is it a good idea? I don't think so. We're going to see a lot of problems in 5 years. People aren't doing nitrogen purging while they're brazing. There's a lot of people out there that don't. In 5 years, that could be a problem. Right now, it's not.
Right.
So eventually, it can catch up to you. And that's just my common practice. Anytime I use a mixed refrigerant, just dump it all and put new stuff in.
And it's
It's
not
definitely
bad.
better to be safer than sorry.
Yeah.
But because if you change and do a retrofit, you got to change all the rings and the dryer anyway. So you got to, you need to drop it anyway to just do that.
Yeah, correct.
And if you look in the manual when you put up that new gas, it gives you instructions how to do it. And the first thing they do is they say recover.
Yeah.
Right. You always have to recover the refrigerant that's in there.
Yep, and
Period.
change all your rings and your dryer and all that.
Right.
And then put that
Because-
sticker on there.
Right. But I was just wondering if you guys had any issues with it. It sounds like you haven't.
No.
Not far. I got 3 units so far I've done it, and the oldest one I got of the time frame of since I put it in is 5 years, and the other ones are less than 3, and I have not had any issues with it.
No, me either. Now, the other question I have, and I asked Steven this here the other day, how are you guys with the micro channel? Because we have a lot of micro channel out here, and we don't have the issues that other people have with it.
If you follow where people are having problems, you see the humidity is a lot higher in them areas.
Right.
That's exactly what we discussed. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Also, I believe the microchannel is okay right now because it's only been out, say, 4 or 5 years. It's all still been made by the manufacturer, and they follow those practices. Once you start replacing compressors, dryers, start opening up those refrigerant circuits and fixing them, that's when I think we're going to start seeing the problems.
And plus, when they check them and test them, all them microchannels, it's in a controlled environment. It's not high humidity and everything else. So when they put it in Arizona and stuff like that, that's high temperature but no humidity. But to put it over here on the East Coast, it's going to tear it up just like salt water does.
And the fact you can't repair it, you have to replace the whole coil. I mean, it's gone.
Well, we like target practice.
Right.
Well, I was just curious how you guys.
Yeah, I think it's when the practices start coming in hand. You'll find out real quick the people that are actually purging while they braze compared to the people that aren't, and that's where you're going to see the big difference in how it compares. Those microchannels start to plug up because they showed a cutaway when I took the Liebherr classes, and it's a pinhead. I mean, that's what.
Oh yeah, it's real thin. I mean, you can barely get a straight pin down it.
Yeah, and Liebherr requires you to get down to 250 microns on a pump down. That's what they're recommending. How many people are actually doing a 250? Most people do, around 400 or 500, and they think it's good.
And another drawback, you can't really do a superheat charge while you got a microchannel either.
No.
Right.
Yeah, 3 or 4 ounces could take you from 20 to 0.
Well, if you look at the microchannel anyway, how it's built, it's got, the copper coils used to have that return loop on the ends. Well, these here don't. It's got a regular round pipe that the microchannel fits into. Well, that round pipe is going to act as a receiver, and a lot of people don't realize that. And there's 2 of them on each end.
Yeah.
So you got to take that into consideration also.
Yeah.
Because your condenser basically is your receiver. And now you've got actual receivers at each end of that coil.
What I like about Liebherr is they give you they'll tell you how much refrigerant can be held in that condenser on those kind of microchannels. So you can real close when you calculate everything, your line sizes, your evaporator, your condenser, your run. You can get really close.
And now you're dealing with 410A, which has to be charged in a liquid, and if you've never charged with a liquid, it'll get away from you real fast if you don't pay attention.
Same as 407.
Right. So.
Yeah, and when you charge in liquid, a lot of these new guys don't understand if you do it too much, it's going to clog up a daggone and stop a compressor real quick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A flood thing
They don't like liquid? I thought scrolls were
That's what I've been told, but I don't know.
I thought it was running properly when it started slugging.
you get those marbles in there. That's
Well, there's so many ways you can solve that problem. You could take, I got some 1.125" hard straight copper, and I put caps on them and put Strutter valves on it, and put that between the tank and the unit, and it flashes in the copper tubing before it goes in. So it's actually a gas when it goes in.
well, I just go by my manifold. If I'm flashing out of my sight glass on the manifold, I know I'm flashing all the way down.
That's the same thing. It's since I got the old analog, that's what I use, so I know it will.
Yeah. Billy's quiet over there.
Always.
I think he's asleep.
He's sucking on his what are you? That looks like a bong. Are you smoking some wacky? Oh, the baby is. The baby's sucking on a bong. I didn't see any smoke puffing up, so I wasn't sure.
It's like the e-cigarettes. Now they got e-bongs.
And talking about that, did y'all hear the news where they're talking about these electric cigarettes, or actually scientists are finding they're worse
Yeah.
than actually regular cigarettes?
Oh, yeah. That was retarded hearing about that.
Of course.
Yeah, I was just waiting for that to show up.
And they're made by the cigarette companies, most of them.
Of course. They
Yeah.
don't want to lose any money.
Yeah, well.
I can't get used to them. I need the all natural.
What you need to do is quit.
That won't happen.
I've been on the Chantix trying that one. It's still rough.
I've heard too many horror stories about suicide and psychotics.
The wacky dreams you have.
The
Well, I tell you, that was the hardest thing I ever did was smoking cigarettes.
yeah.
But I got it done. But it was hard.
Learning how or quitting?
So, both. Once I learned how, then I had to quit.
I should probably just move the computer, but this spot's comfortable. So, anybody? Well, I guess you guys are all talking to me, so you're not going to have checked out my Project Malosha update. Should be live.
No, we haven't looked at it.
Okay.
Finally get paid for that?
What?
Did you finally get paid for that job?
It's not done yet.
Hmm?
It's not finished yet.
Hmm. Yeah, at least tell him you need a 50% draw.
Oh, he's been taking care of me along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not waiting till the end before I get anything. I'm actually in the green, I think, at the moment. Or black. What do you call it? In the black?
Yeah, God, I hope so. That was a lot of work.
Yeah. What's Junior up to, besides being awake at midnight? That's pretty bad. A newborn baby is more energetic than I am at midnight. Of course, he probably had about 4 naps today, right? Well, did we miss anything that you wanted to talk about, Joe?
I don't think so. I'm a little beat anyway myself, but did you talk to Mike at all about maybe coming together and like having a topic, something to discuss every week?
No.
You didn't talk. What do you think about that, Mike? Like if every week on your Monday night hangouts we could think of a topic or something to discuss.
Yeah, pretty much on Monday night. Only thing I'm there for is basically 8:30 to do the drawing. Whatever y'all want to talk about, it don't even have to be heat and air related. Just whatever you want to talk about, you talk.
Right, and that's what I was thinking would maybe get people more engaged in that would be if you
Have a
kind of
specific.
specific.
If y'all come in there and want to come up with a topic when it starts and go with it, that's fine.
But what if you were able to kind of plug it the day?
That's fine. If you can tell me what you want to talk about that time, just let me know and I can put it in the title.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you start off a live feed and it's dead at the beginning before anybody has joined, when you re-watch that video, there's 10 or 15 minutes of nothing.
Yeah.
And you're never going to gain an audience for the review. You'll get people that watch the first 5 minutes and say, this is going nowhere, I'm not going to finish it.
Yeah.
Of course, some people will skip. You know, they'll say, well, at 10 minutes, nothing happened, so I'll skip to 20.
Yep.
Most
That's exactly
people don't have it.
And cut that out.
Yeah. But if you start off, I tried to do it on this one, you know, start off talking with a couple of subjects so that by the time people started coming into the video, there was something to watch before everybody else showed. And I ran kind of short because I guess 10 minutes notice of a video pause. I wanted to, you know, preview it, but then I said, you know what, let me just start it. I'll talk, but you know, opening with the subject matter would definitely help maintain and give you the viewable content the whole video.
I agree.
That's true, and that's one advantage you have when you can actually see in real time how many people are actually viewing your channel.
Yeah.
As soon as you see somebody actually join, you start talking about a subject. Within the next 45 seconds is when they actually start hearing it.
Right. Yeah. Just
Then all you got to do is when you set the hangout, tell it to go to private as soon as you stop broadcasting, and then you can go in there and edit the first whatever minutes up to that point. Then just make it public, and it's, you know, as soon as somebody starts watching it, within less than 5 minutes, you know, it's no dead space.
Yeah.
Maybe during the week we can have a poll on what everybody wants to talk about, and then have that as the discussion. Whoever, you know, what the votes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, y'all got my email, you got my number, and everything else. Just text me or whatever, and I can change the title for next Monday.
Got some more orange, Jim.
So we're going to name it Simple Orange, okay?
That'll be the first topic.
Yeah.
What is Steven doing with orange juice?
What you don't see.
And then the week after that, we're going to have Vika. Then we're just going to blend them right together.
Mm-hmm.
Get you a good old screwdriver.
Which I received my screwdrivers today.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I did.
Oh, talking about subjects, has anybody messed with or dealt with the Hiltman tool bag? It looks like a book bag.
Hillmore?
Yeah.
I thought
I've
Ralph...
seen it, but I have not talked to anybody that's actually used it.
Which one, the book bag or they got the backpack?
The only one that looks like a book bag. They got the shoulder straps on it. The rest of them you carry by hand.
Yeah, I've seen
At least in their catalog book, that's what it says.
Huh. No, I thought Ralph had one, but he never actually used it.
I've heard people talk about it like it don't have enough pockets in it, and then some of them, I just wondered. I mean, it's not but like $60 or $70 for it, but I saw one at the local carrier dealer here, and it looks pretty hefty bag.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about options for giveaways, it doesn't matter what it is. People fresh in the trades would love to have a nice, branded bag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking in that perspective, I was thinking getting one myself because I got some commercial contracts now that has the wall ladders, and I like to have both hands on the ladder.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought it was fun to have that open toolbox, like the Tech LC and the Tech XL, with the shoulder strap and just an open bucket type bag. And when you start climbing up, it tips over and dumps everything.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's convenient and feels safe for people below you.
The LC.
I got a 1-inch rope that's 50 foot long, but I just don't like pulling that out every time I go to one of them things. I like to throw it on the back and go with it.
Yeah, backpack.
I like to talk to somebody that's actually used it. Does it have enough pockets to actually do a diagnostic on basically any kind of unit? And then if you need to go in more detail, go get something else.
Honestly, Mike, the Klein bag is $70 or so, and it's got pockets to beat the band. It's not quite the CLC bag that what's his name had. The LC? Yep.
What
I don't know
supply house have y'all seen that in? Or is there any supply house, or you order offline?
I have never seen the Klein in a shop. I just recently realized that the D&L parts house that we go to actually carries the Vito XL. I think they're toting the MB, not the MB2. The LC or whatever. I didn't even know they had the Vito bags in there. Honestly, though, I don't think I can go back to a tool bag. After having used a backpack, you get used to that convenience of having both hands every time you carry a bag around, and it's like, no,
It can get really heavy too.
Well, mine weighs almost 40 pounds.
I think that
carrying 40 pounds in your hand, carrying 40 pounds in one hand, that gets to you after a while. But when you put them shoulder straps on, it almost feels half of that weight.
Yeah. If you're going to carry it for a long period of time, I'm sure it can wear you out. But especially what I'm doing, I'm doing residential stuff. You throw it on your back, walk around the side of the house, walk up to the attic, whatever it is, and throw it on the ground and unzip it. The only complaint I have, which I found out like right at the time I was doing the giveaway, was the zipper on one side of that Klein bag just opened up and came off the track. So I'm running on one zipper right now. So, hey, Vito, if you see this video, send me a backpack. Send me one and I'll give it away. And then you can send me another one.
Yeah, and send me one, too.
But, people say that the Vito bags are really, really tough. And as long as everything holds up in the backpack like some of the other bags, I mean, the shoulder strap breaking, it sucks within a year and a half, but that's one part of the bag you put the most stress on. That's holding the weight. That's what moves constantly. But when this Klein bag dies, I think I'm going to go Vito.
Yeah, I've never had any problems with the LC. Like I said, I get up to 55 pounds with it. Nothing. I haven't had any problems with the strap.
Now that's the LC.
Yeah. Big enough
Now
to
have
carry
y'all?
commercial.
I saw.
Yeah.
Think
I
about
saw something in Johnstone just a few days ago. I don't know if anybody else. They just got them in the day before. It's like little Z manifolds, but the head of it is actually digital, and it's Bluetooth.
Yeah.
It's almost like the
Jason, you went to you post a link to the Appion Bluetooth heads?
Yeah.
It's almost like the Sporlan, but it actually, instead of just a transmitter, actually has the digital display on them.
Right.
Appion came out with the pressure ones, and they have the vacuum gauge. They're all wireless.
Yeah, they got
Appian ones
three.
are expensive though.
They got one for 410 high pressure, 800 psi, and then one is for like no more than 500. Then they got the vacuum.
Yeah. I think
And they're
that's
like-
Appion. I'm sure somebody else is going to throw them out too if they aren't already, but you would know, Jason. You went there.
Yeah, they go for about like 260 something a piece.
That's not Appion, then. I don't know. I think that, yeah, that's about the right price.
Is
The
that
last
a
time I
Bluetooth
did-
thing?
3-4.
I guess that's one method. You keep your manifold and get communicating heads on it. I don't know, but $500 to keep your own manifold and just put gauges on it?
Yeah, I wouldn't want
This
something
is
to rack.
Yeah.
Well, this has the display on each one, so you can use them without wireless. Put one on, the high side, low side, and you got your digital display right on it.
Right.
Or you can actually turn your tablet on and receive it as well.
Well, my question or my complaint is you're putting it on your own manifold, even if it's a brand new manifold that you buy from the supply house.
No. You don't need a manifold for this.
Standalone.
It's like a little Z manifold that screws right onto the service valves.
Yeah, it's standalone. You don't need a manifold.
Oh,
Nope,
it
no
looked
manifold
like it was what I saw. It looked like it was the thread to go into your manifold.
No, you can buy them, but these are the ones that's got the service valve port right on it. It looks like a little Z manifold with about a 2-inch piece of pipe, and it then screws right onto the service.
Digital wireless Z manifold. That is pretty interesting, but the price is still pretty.
Yeah, but see,
Isn't that
on the
man
display
tooth?
in the wireless on your tablet, it shows you the high, low, superheat, subcooling, and all that information.
It's got to be a lot like the smart valve one.
The Sporlan.
Now, I wish I got the name of them, but
Because I was expecting to see a lot more at the trade show, like as far as like software for that and the wireless technologies. And there wasn't a lot out there really. There's only 3. Imperial was there. Sporlan was advertising the crap out of theirs,
Mm-hmm.
service tool or whatever. And then Fieldpiece coming out with that little adapter you can buy, that JL2 adapter or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was it. There was no one besides the Chinese. The Chinese had a bunch of cubicles of just all knockoff stuff.
Was the man tooth there?
The what?
The man tooth from Yellow Jacket?
Did not see that. Ooh, Testo, they're coming out with wireless also. I talked to the rep there, and they said they're coming out with basically the same thing as everybody else. So they said in a couple months they'll have their product out.
Of course they're going to say that.
Yeah.
You get a diehard Testo fan sitting at your counter at a trade show.
When are they
What
going to
are you
have?
going to tell him? It'll be 6 months, man, 6 months. And he's going to wait 6 months, and he'll be disappointed. I'm giving you...
That's how I felt about my 550s before everything else came out. The 550s were great, and I was always looking for some way to have it to where you could save it or have a report. I never had that. And then when they came out the 570s, I think they had the reporting out after that.
Yep.
That was separate software for like $300 or $400.
Yeah.
I was like, no way, I'm not going to spend that. And
And it only runs on a PC.
Yeah, I'm a Mac person, so that wouldn't work. Unless I put parallels on my computer, which I don't do.
Why would you spend the money on Windows at all?
Windows 10 comes out, I don't know. I might have to check that out on my gaming rig.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess if it is a standalone gauge head, what better thing to do? I mean, the Sporlan Smart Tool has no display, and that was something that everybody said they wanted on iManifold. The Mantooth has no display.
Field piece isn't going to be.
So if Appion is throwing a display and whoever Mike is talking about putting a display on it plus wireless, they're ahead of the game, you know. They're listening to the complaining that went on around iManifold. I think it's a non-issue. I don't miss a display on the gauges at all. Yeah, that's what I had seen, and I think it was in your video, Jason.
Yeah.
But that definitely looked like it was a thread into your gauges or thread into your manifold. You're saying that there's a hose fitting
ion wireless pressure gauges.
Right there.
Here's a link that goes to where they got a little device you screw on the end and that screws into your, that's it.
Is that what you saw?
Yeah.
That's the one I got right now, that it actually, you can put that little fitting on there and it will screw right onto the service valve.
Yeah, the Appion Ion.
Yep. And you see the picture on the bottom right where you can actually put it on like a core valve remover or whatever you want to do if you wanted to. If you need to add gas or whatever. But yeah, it's a standalone. You put one on high, one on low, get your tablet out, and it shows the superheat, subcooling.
Now, what I don't understand is where is superheat and subcool coming from?
Yeah, I don't see where the temperature would be.
Is there a sensor in the hose adapter that somehow tells you based on the temperature of the refrigerant what the pipe would have been?
That'd be sweet.
Only thing I can think of.
It would be sweet, but I just don't see it. That's
I don't see anything about that.
magic.
But if you look, scroll on down on that page, it shows a display of the app.
Yeah.
And it shows the high side, low side, what gas you're using, and superheat and subcool.
Yeah.
Measure temp. I don't know if that's adding. You have to add that physically because it has a plus sign next to the measured temp.
Ah.
So I think you have to manually enter that so far. Yeah.
Interesting.
Not really.
It's only on the.
I do like that. Now I
But
know
at least they're moving to the right direction.
Imperial's coming out with a micron gauge wireless or a feature. That will be cool.
Trying to tell me secrets I don't know?
You don't know about that yet? Oh. Yep, they're coming out with that. I thought after the update. They were talking about it at the trade show, so it's not a trade secret.
Right.
It says superheat and subcool. Monitor system efficiency and determine ideal refrigerant charge using superheat subcooling calculations through manual entries or by connecting to a thermo measurement.
Yeah, so, manual.
Huh.
But still, that's not bad. If you needed adjust the TXVs or whatever, that at least they're moving in the right direction to help.
It costs the same as like an iConnect. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it at that point.
It's like a Sporlan, but it just has the digital actually right there. You can use it wireless or non-wireless. Like Sporlan, you got to have the wireless, and that's it.
Yeah.
With this, you can do both.
At least Sporlan added the thermocouples, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. These eventually they probably will, but what I like about these that Sporlan don't have, you don't have to do wireless. You can just go to a unit, pop one on, pop the other one on, and you got your measurements.
Yeah. It is nice to see the display. It's a Z manifold with a wireless option.
Yep.
But Talon just commented that Z manifold is only $35.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah. Has anybody seen anybody still using those Yellow Jacket solar digitals?
I never used them at all.
Yeah. I bought them when I first saw them, and they lasted for, I don't know, 3 months. One of them died because it got rained on. And those things weren't even sealed. It was like an exposed solar panel.
Oh, wow.
Unsealed digital display, and it wasn't even actually a digital pressure transducer. It was the analog spiral and
Board-on tube.
digital display of
It's
that.
called a board-on tube.
Yeah. So there was no more accuracy. It was just numbers instead of a needle.
We're talking about solar power. I got a solar power flashlight that I might give away.
Yeah.
Well, what good's that work in the dark, though, Mike?
Did they have a
I was just waiting to see who actually can. Yeah. Ring them in. Ring them in. There you go. It took
Actually,
longer than I thought.
the fluke? No, not the. What did I pick up? The DeWalt 20-volt flashlight. It's pretty
Yeah.
nice.
With the rotating head on it.
Yeah.
What I wish that they would do with the 20-volt stuff is make that same flashlight that they had for the 12-volt. That little turtle shell piece that had the magnets.
Yeah, it almost looks like the Bosch one.
Yeah. Of course, I should just go get that Bosch that John M. showed, because that was pretty cool.
I got a gift card, but it was for Home Depot, so I couldn't get Bosch from there. I got that instead, but I wanted that Bosch. That looks nice.
Yeah. That's weird. I thought Bosch was sold here at the Home Depots in North Carolina.
Yeah, not power tools. I couldn't find in that department. The only thing I could find was I think it was a grinder or something that they had for Bosch, but that was it. They didn't have the drills, impacts, nothing.
Huh.
I don't know if it was just that particular Home Depot or what, but
Yeah.
You can get it on Home Depot online, though.
I should have done that. Then I could have used a gift card there.
But then you have to wait.
Then I had to wait. Hate waiting.
Got money in your pocket, and you want new toys. You want them now.
Now.
You guys have no idea how ravenous I was when I ordered my first time manifold. I was like, literally just like, you know what? Let me just drive up to Ohio. They're building them up there. I'll just go pick it up. The day they leave, I'll go get it.
Of course, the first day I got them, I didn't get any cooling calls. I was pissed. I wanted to try them out so bad. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah. It's definitely been nice that they've updated everything to what it does now. The heat profiling for heat pumps, even gas stuff. I mean, you saw it in the clock in the meter. I wish there was a way that you could actually be more accurate, because trying to, manual reaction time is going to dictate how accurate within, 9/10 of a second, how accurate your meter clock is.
Now, you have to turn off all the appliances when you clock, right? When you're
Yes.
at a house.
Yeah,
turn off the water heater.
Yeah, I was fortunate. They had an electric water heater, and the only other gas appliance was the second floor system, And since I had been running the downstairs system for an hour,
That was
it
off.
was plenty warm upstairs, and that one didn't need to run. It was like 78 degrees, and they keep it at 68 by the time I went upstairs to check that one. I almost wanted to check the air conditioner just for the heck of it.
Got the load.
Inside, yeah, it's 48 degrees outside, but I had load inside for sure. Oh, goodness gracious. I think I feel like the baby sounds. I don't know about you guys, but I have nothing to do tomorrow other than sit around, and I think I'm going to start by going to bed. Oh, it is already tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
For you, yeah.
Today.
It's been fun, guys. Thanks for stopping in and chatting.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you having me out.
I haven't been as active with the other hangouts. Typically, I have got something else going on. I just got lucky this weekend, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, think of some good topics.
Yeah.
Even.
Somebody come up with a poll or something, get it kicked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Alrighty, guys.
All
I'm
right,
going to go
man.
ahead and close this up. You guys have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Subscribe to my channel. Bye.
Bye.